and welcome to SBC Summit Barcelona. I'm Anaya McDonald. I am the social media admin at SBC Media, and I'm joined with the lovely Rebekah Jackson today from GBG. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Good morning. It's great to be here and great to be at the show.
Yeah, great atmosphere. We've been having a lovely chit chat beforehand.
Yes.
So I'm going to start with the first question. With a huge surge of digitalisation for the betting and gaming industry, what impact has this had on the risk of fraud for the sector?
I think there's lots of things out there that are causing an impact when you look at it. You've got things such as ID theft, bonus abuse in the market. You've got the fact that regulators are trying to play catch up with what the fraudsters are now doing to support the operators, and they're always going to find a loophole within that. What we're seeing is more and more adoption of different technology and different data. So when we think of things such as email intelligence, mobile intelligence, spotting the fraudulent players at the front door, I think that the operators are starting to catch them out earlier on and try and protect these measures. So yeah, it's definitely been very, very busy. There's also a lot of RG and responsible gaming initiatives out there, as we all know, so a lot happening.
What are the key challenges targeting mobile sports books in comparison to those in the traditional retail gambling space?
I think with a traditional gambling retail space, you're human to human. You're there with somebody, and you can always see that person. Whereas when you're online, what location is that person in? How are they spoofing the location to access in another country? I think you also have challenges with chargebacks a lot, as every payment company and operator will know. And we're seeing, I wouldn't say necessarily more of a rise on that, but it is still a big problem in the industry. So it's that knowing where the person is, chargebacks that they're having, but then also we're seeing like a injection of deep fakes coming into market. So people creating very, very, very good false identities via either physical documents or even digital fake identities, which you can't pick up with manual human inspection, and you need tech to support.
Yeah, it's scary, isn't it?
It is.
GBG has previously highlighted the extent of threats to smartphone users. How does this impact betting operators themselves?
So I think, well, first of all, the key message that I always talk about and bang on about with our team is a smooth customer onboarding process and journey. And that doesn't go from when just a player is being onboarded. It goes from in life, when perhaps they need to do further affordability checks during play, or when a player is trying to withdraw funds and that friction. I think that without having good processes and keeping it smooth, what you're ultimately doing is you're damaging your own reputation, you're creating higher operational costs further down the line. We've even seen challenges from regulators, so regulatory and legal challenges where people haven't got this right. And I just think that ensuring that process is a happy path is just so important in this day and age, and not getting it right can really damage a business.
You've also noted that 1/3 of businesses, including operators, don't use tech to verify its customers. Why do you think this is, and is the need to do so increasing?
Sure. So we did a GBG commissioned the Digital State of Identity report, and we've done it every year. So the new statistics this year have shown us that 76% of businesses, that includes operators, are using ID verification at the point of onboarding. So that is still a good chunk of businesses that aren't. And for me, it's a question of mark of why not? Because why do you not want to know who it is that's your customer and what it is you're doing with them? I think on the back of that, our report told us as well that 64% of gaming operators have suffered some form of bonus abuse attack. So that's quite a high percentage of businesses that are being damaged by people suffering bonus abuse, and it's not an easy process for a business when they're being attacked as such in that way. And I think what's key here is we know that 55% of them businesses as well have admitted to it. So they know they have fraud within the company. So why isn't everybody looking at as identity verification as a good measure, and not only identity verification but fraud, AML, to protect their business? So yeah, we see it a lot from reports that we commission.
What can stakeholders do better to address these threats, and what technology is available to operators?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've got here is you've got KYC checks, documents, data that exist in the market, but it's about layering in additional measures to protect your business. So if we think of the email address someone's using to sign up, how long has that email address been in existence? How long, when was it first seen within our fraud network? Was it just recently created? Does it have fraud tagged and associated to it? And I think that layering in something like that, along with mobile intelligence, where you're knowing more about the phone number, the person, can you match that mobile number to that individual, or have they recently swapped the SIM out? There's a lot of things nowadays that you can look at to pick up fraud.
Have you noticed any different attitudes towards tech adoption between the established European and emerging North American markets?
Well, I think, as we all know, UK and Europe is a lot more regulated and well established. When we look at Northern American markets coming out, I actually think that the tech adoption's been very good. This is my personal opinion here, because what I'm seeing is new platforms, new operators are entering the market, and actually their tech stacks aren't what they would be in life or part of an established operator. So we'll know compliance sits at the bottom of anybody's dev stack, and we're always fighting because we're not as cool as new content or a payment provider. But what we do is we actually save businesses money and keep that reputation intact for them to make sure it's all secure, safe, we're protecting the consumer, and they can grow their business. So my opinion on this is that I actually think the adoption of tech is very good coming out of these new markets, because they're getting it right from the get-go. I mean, you could compare it to looking at Ontario, for example. We're supporting over 60% of the operators in market there, and they're using multiple different data sets and technology to support that customer onboarding journey. And it's in a frictionless way. They're not having to upset the customer. They're still getting everything verified and meeting regulation. So it's very smooth. It's not manual. So I think the tech adoption's been good.
And finally, what are your long-term visions for the company, and how has GBG positioned itself to capitalise on growth opportunities?
Good question. I think we're a PLC in the UK, and we've been around for over 30 years. So we're a well-established company that understands data, documents, transactions, and we have the biggest global library of documents and data to offer customers. However, what we've seen really is a bit of a shift in thinking in KYC. It's not just binary anymore. There's the need to have a richer, deeper understanding of an identity of an individual, because then you can really get to know this player. So where traditional data, looking at credit and government things, while it's all really good and it meets regulation, and it's something we do day in, day out, we've been thinking, okay, how can we be more dynamic and diversify? One of the things that GBG have launched this year is GBG Trust and GBG Score. Score enables us to score identities, to look at whether or not that individual is who they say they are, but in a different way. And looking at your player score overall, you can benchmark against your peers in industry. So if you're operator A, and then we have operator B, we know who's getting good players on board from their score using different identity data, which is pretty cool. The other element that I just mentioned is GBG Trust. This is our global fraud consortium. It is brilliant. It essentially, we're analysing and doing lots of clever stuff, which I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Technically, I know everything how it works in the background. But within our core product set, essentially our fraud consortium, we're analysing the data coming in, looking where we've seen it previously, and okay, has Rebekah signed up under another abbreviation of her name or a slight tweak on the address? Have we seen that identity before? And is it a bad actor? And we can actually provide businesses with confidence levels and fraud scores now associated to that identity. So when you take a market such as Canada, well, Ontario, and we're seeing over 60% of the traffic in the market, that's a really cool thing to be able to give to your operator client to say, look, we know more about this person than ever's been traditionally been able to. So there's lots of things happening, lots of places we're going, but yeah, it's a really exciting time.
Brilliant. I look forward to hearing more about what GBG has to offer. And thank you so much, Rebekah. That's been amazing.
No, thank you for your time.